Question 12, Jenny Marcroft, when the House is silent.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and asks, what reports, if any, has he seen on developments in the Middle East?
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
New Zealand has watched with cautious optimism the events of the last 24 hours in Gaza, with a ceasefire holding and the release of hostages and detainees. It's been a moment of immense relief and celebration for the 20 hostages who were released after so long in captivity, their families and indeed the people of Israel. We must also remember all of those hundreds of hostages who died in the 2 years since Hamas brutally took them captive. Everyone who cares about peace should be welcoming this much-delayed ceasefire, which has come after so much suffering. We note that while Hamas has released 20 hostages, Israel has released around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. New Zealand commends the leadership of the United States, Donald Trump, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, Indonesia and other countries in bringing this deal together, and we view the events of the last 24 hours as providing momentum for peace and constituting a significant first step towards ending this devastating conflict and not making stupid statements like the people on my right.
Supplementary. Supplementary.
Yes.
How do these developments relate to the New Zealand government's approach to the Middle East?
The Speaker, has just been 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks exactly, since we outlined New Zealand's approach on the Middle East question to the United Nations General Assembly. Subsequent events have reinforced a number of arguments that we made at that time in New York, including first, that those countries with influence over the situation should step up and exercise leadership, and second, that the international community's focus should be on achieving a ceasefire, the release of hostages and the flow of humanitarian assistance in order to alleviate the calamitous situation impacting on Palestinians and Israelis alike. We are gratified that this is precisely what has happened. Yesterday's historic achievement is a critical first step towards implementing the wider peace plan and securing a lasting peace. Already we have seen a ceasefire, the release of hostages and the surging into Gaza of humanitarian assistance. We urge both Israel and Hamas to abide by the ceasefire and to continue to engage in good faith to secure agreement on the outstanding issues.
Supplementary. How do these developments impact on New Zealand's approach to recognition of a Palestinian state?
We continue to hold the position that recognition of a Palestinian state is a matter of when, not if. We will recognise a Palestinian state when the conditions are right. A ceasefire and hostage release were indeed 2 initial steps in the right direction to creating those conditions, but further steps remain. What we need now to focus on is the achievement of a durable and sustainable peace, the disarmament and dissolution of Hamas, and the rapid development of Palestinian institutions capable of forming a legitimate and credible government in both the West Bank and Gaza. Palestinians will not be able to develop these institutions alone, and New Zealand stands ready to play its part alongside other members of the international community.
Supplementary. How have recent developments in the Middle East been received here in New Zealand?
Well, the silence over the past week from some of the so-called pro-Palestinian protesters around this country has been absolutely deafening. For 2 years they have ranted and raved and fumed and fulminated about the situation in Gaza. They have demanded that we do more, give more, say more, and virtue signal more. And then over the past week, as a peace deal has been struck, adios amigos, as a ceasefire has taken hold, adios to war, and welcome to peace. And then over the past week, as a peace deal has been struck, as a ceasefire has been taken hold, and as hostages have been released, from them, not a mutter, not a murmur, not a syllable, not a sound. We have seen not a press release, not a tweet, not a parliamentary question, and the question is, why this deafening silence? Because you're all about performative politics.
That's right. Supplementary question, the Simon Court.
To the Minister, what message does he have for the Israeli and for the Jewish communities in New Zealand now that the hostages have been released?
Watch out for crowbars.
Well, first of all, that they have recognised that it was the US President and others from Muslim countries who brought this about, and that anti-Americanism or any other sentiment is of no value when you're concerned about peace, and particularly if you're some arrogant twit that arrived here 5 minutes ago and doesn't give a concern about this country's initiative and its peace over the years. My message is this: we can understand why the past 24 hours have provided a moment of great emotion, relief and indeed celebration. Some 20 of the hostages held cruelly by Hamas for the past 2 years have finally been reunited with their loved ones, as have over 2,000 prisoners in terms of Palestine. Anybody who saw the footage of these families being reunited should welcome and applaud that. At the same time, as we have said that, we should also not forget all those hostages who lost their lives in the past 2 years in the custody of Hamas.